Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Martial Universe Season 10 Part 26 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. Standing at the edge of the churning Devil Sea, Yuan Qian and the rest stared at it with tensed expressions. With the flow of time, the stress on their faces also grew increasingly intense. Moreover, there was also a little anxiety surfacing on their faces. "Father, why is there still no news from him?" the black-clothed young lady was eventually unable to resist as she involuntarily asked. There was a hint of anxiety in her eyes. After all, this matter affected their entire dragon tribe. He should have passed through the Devil Sea and entered the devil-suppressing prison below. Yuan Qian slowly said. "Entered the devil-suppressing prison? Even tribe leader cannot enter that place." A dragon tribe elder exclaimed in shock. Clearly, he had decent knowledge about the devil-suppressing prison. Yuan Qian nodded in agreement. Back then, he once tried to enter that devil-suppressing prison. However, he ended up in a relatively miserable state. Moreover, the faint auras present within the devil-suppressing prison terrified even his present self. Additionally, he had also once went to look for those old monsters in the tribe, who were usually in a cultivation seclusion. However, the existence within the devil-suppressing prison was a big taboo and they refused to talk about it. The important person that he mentioned should be located within the devil-suppressing prison. One will have to enter the devil-suppressing prison in order to look for him. It is likely because of this that Qingxi chose to recommend him. A couple of elders nodded and said, "Now, all we can do is see if he can return safely. Have faith in Qingxi's recommendation." Yuan Qian smiled. Both his hands were placed behind his back. After which, he shut his eyes and waited peacefully. Upon seeing this, the others could only hold back the uneasiness within their hearts and wait quietly as well. This wait lasted for half an hour. Yuan Qian suddenly opened his tightly shut eyes while the uneasiness within everyone's heart grew increasingly intense. His eyes contained some joy as he looked at the Devil Sea. Swoosh! The Devil Sea suddenly churned before a light figure shot out from it. Black lightning flashed and the demonic aura entwining around him was completely purified. "He has come out!" Everyone rejoiced upon seeing the person who had shot out. The figure shot over and landed in front of everyone. The light barrier over his body disappeared, revealing Lin Dong, who had entered the devil-suppressing prison previously. "Young friend Lin Dong, how did it go?" Yuan Qian hurriedly asked upon seeing Lin Dong. "I am pleased to report that I have not let you down." Lin Dong grinned and said, "Some cracks appeared on the devil-suppressing prison and that allowed the demonic aura to seep out. Now that elder has already repaired the devil-suppressing prison, everything will be resolved once the Yimo Qi here is purified." Those extremely ancient-looking elders from the dragon tribe revealed a joy on their elderly faces upon hearing this. Yuan Qian also heaved a sigh of relief. After all, if Lin Dong was unable to resolve this problem, it was likely that he could only take a risk and summon those old fellows, who were in a cultivation seclusion. "Does the person below intend to not come out?" Yuan Qian glanced at the Devil Sea below and smilingly said. He was also quite curious about that great person who was in the devil-suppressing prison. She needs to suppress the devil-suppressing prison and is temporarily unable to leave. However, I believe that she will come out in the future. Lin Dong turned his head to stare at the churning Devil Sea. He was aware that the day the Darkness Master left the devil-suppressing prison, the world would have likely wound up in quite a terrible state. Yuan Qian nodded, but he did not say anything more. He pointed towards the Devil Sea. "This being is quite troublesome. How should we handle it?" Although the source of the Devil Sea has been cut, the Devil Sea had been accumulated over so many years. Unless one possessed a unique method, it would be extremely troublesome to remove it. Nonetheless, he believed that since Lin Dong was able to enter the devil-suppressing prison, it was likely that he would have some special techniques to deal with the Devil Sea in front of them. "Leave it to me," Lin Dong softly said. This sea of demonic aura was many times denser compared to the Devil Sea within the ancestral soul hall of the Nine-Tailed tribe. If he was to rely on his own strength, he would need at least a couple of years to purify it. However, it was clear that he did not have the luxury of time to help the dragon tribe by slowly purifying it. In that case, we will have to trouble young friend Lin Dong. Yuan Qian smilingly said. The black-clothed young lady and the couple of dragon elders by the side also sighed quietly in relief. Their eyes no longer contained any doubt when they looked at Lin Dong. Lin Dong nodded. He moved and rushed towards the sky above the Devil Sea. With his appearance, the Devil Sea beneath him began to churn. A tremendous amount of demonic aura gathered together, transforming into a ferocious devil python that screamed as it charged towards him. At this juncture, you still dare to act so arrogantly? Lin Dong involuntarily let out a cold laughter as he looked at the devil python rushing over. However, he did not do anything. Instead, a warm sunlight-like white glow swept out from within his body. Sizzle sizzle. Under that warm sunlight, the devil python, which was charging over, let out a sharp screech. Meanwhile, the demonic aura undulated on its large body disappeared at a shocking pace. Within a short 10 seconds, it completely vanished and scattered. It seems like young friend Lin Dong possess many things that can hurt the Yimo. Yuan Qian looked at the warm light and grinned. Given his eyesight, he was naturally able to tell that the strength of this white light was different from that of his ancestral symbols. However, this white warmth, which could accommodate everything, had a shocking purification ability on those evil Yimo Qi. However, by doing so, he would have triggered the entire Devil Sea and sparked its retaliation. An elder from the dragon tribe said. They were naturally aware of the might of this Devil Sea. Back then, they had attempted to purify it. However, they ended up in a rather miserable state because of the Devil Sea's retaliation. Moreover, if not for the fact that they were well prepared, it would have been extremely difficult for them to withdraw unscathed. Bang! His voice had just sounded when they heard countless sharp deafening howls from within the Devil Sea. In fact, it seemed as if the entire Devil Sea had erupted as an endless amount of demonic aura shot out. It appeared as though tens of thousands of huge devil-like waves were crazily sweeping over towards Lin Dong in the sky in a frightening manner. Lin Dong remained calm as he stared at that churning Devil Sea. He clenched his hand before a black crystal appeared. With a flick of his finger, the crystal body turned into a black light, which shot forward. After which, it clashed head-on with the tens of thousands of devil waves. Boom! A loud sound rose from the Devil Sea. Soon after, everyone saw a black light screen spreading in all directions. Those Yimo Qi, which made contact with it, turned into white fog and disappeared instantly. Sizzle sizzle. Black light scattered downwards and the Devil Sea, which was filled with a terrifying demonic aura, was purified, leaving behind a huge empty space. The surrounding demonic aura had also become a lot thinner. Instantly, 1/3 of the demonic aura within the Devil Sea was purified. Yuan Qian and the rest were startled upon seeing this scene. Clearly, they did not expect Lin Dong to be so terrifyingly efficient. That black light contains a relatively frightening strength. Yuan Qian muttered to himself, before both his eyes quickly narrowed. He looked at the deepest part of the Devil Sea and softly said, it should be something given to young friend Lin Dong by the person in the devil-suppressing prison. It seems like it is possible to resolve my dragon tribe's problem by today. Yuan Qian heaved a major sigh of relief. Hovering in the sky, Lin Dong clenched his hand. Promptly, another 2 darkness devil-suppressing beads appeared. He flicked his finger before 2 rays of black light shot downwards into the Devil Sea below. Boom! Boom! 2 low and deep sound reverberated across the entire place. Soon after, the Devil Sea churned intensely. Sharp roars were emitted while the 2 dark black lights spread within the Devil Sea. Those demonic auras, which even a Samsara stage expert did not dare touch, disintegrated at a frightening speed wherever they passed. The evilness started to disappear and the dark chilliness underground also began to vanish a little at a time. When Lin Dong lowered his head and saw how quickly the Devil Sea was disappearing, he involuntarily let out a praise. She was indeed one of the 8 great masters. In fact, her techniques far exceeded those of an ordinary reincarnation stage expert. The devil sea below was now completely purified by the 3 darkness devil-suppressing beads, and Lin Dong still had 2 of them remaining. However, he did not intend to hand them over to the dragon tribe. Given their potency, it was likely that he would be able to use them to force a reincarnation stage foe to pay a relatively hefty price if he managed to find an opening. As the devil sea slowly disappeared, an incomparably huge dark pit appeared in everyone's vision. The huge pit was incomparably spacious, and there was an extremely deep darkness inside. At a first glance, it appeared just like a bottomless large hole, causing one to feel a chill deep within one's heart. Under this huge pit, hid one of the 3 massive devil-suppressing prisons in the world. Lin Dong moved and shot towards Yuan Qian's group. Tribe leader Yuan Qian, I have already purified the devil sea. However, it is best for you to avoid approaching the devil-suppressing prison in the future. The dragon tribe will likely suffer quite a serious loss if anything untoward happens. From what the Darkness Master said, it seems like the devil-suppressing prison's purification has reached a critical juncture. If any mistakes occur and the Yimo are able to escape, the dragon tribe will end up being the first ones implicated. Understood. Yuan Qian nodded and said, Young friend Lin Dong, you can be rest assured that I will seal this place. No one, not even the members of my tribe, will be allowed to enter. Additionally, we have really inconvenienced young friend Lin Dong this time around. Lin Dong waved his hand. His tone sounded extremely righteous. What is tribe leader Yuan Qian saying? As an owner of ancestral symbols, destroying the Yimo is my duty. Ha ha. Yuan Qian smiled. His smile appeared a little deep, and one did not know if he managed to sense the insincerity in Lin Dong's words. Soon after, he said, If there is anything that young friend Lin Dong wants, please tell us. My dragon tribe will not hesitate to oblige if we can fulfill your request. I was just waiting for those words. Lin Dong involuntarily uttered these words within his heart. He was really worried that Yuan Qian would calmly accept his courteous words at face value. At that time, he would probably end up crying. After all, he had worked hard and risked his life. In fact, he was nearly killed by the Darkness Master in a single strike. It was truly unjustified if he did not obtain some rewards in return. Cough. Since tribe leader has said so, Lin Dong will not stand on ceremony. Lin Dong looked at Yuan Qian while the smile on his face grew increasingly brilliant. There is nothing much that I really want. All I hope for is that tribe leader will agree to let me soak in the ancient dragon transformation pool. Ancient dragon transformation pool. Yuan Qian and the rest stared at the brilliant smile on Lin Dong's youthful face. Promptly, all of them were slightly startled before their expressions involuntarily turned strange. Wasn't this a pretty substantial request? The ancient dragon transformation pool was an important treasure of their dragon tribe. Every time an older generation expert in the tribe was about to die, they would enter the dragon transformation pool and release all their energy, turning into a skeleton in the process. Their strength would subsequently fuse into the dragon transformation pool. After many years of accumulation, the energy gathered within the dragon transformation pool had already reached a relatively terrifying extent. Moreover, not everyone in the dragon tribe could enter the ancient dragon transformation pool. According to the rules, the ancient dragon transformation pool was opened biannually. Moreover, only 3 persons could enter it each time. In order to obtain these 3 spots, intense fights would break out in the dragon tribe. The 3 who emerged victorious would be qualified to enter the ancient dragon transformation pool. Moreover, the biggest problem is that the 3 people designated to enter the pool this time around have already been decided after an intense competition. Therefore, Lin Dong's request came a little too late. Hence, Yuan Qian and the rest frowned slightly after hearing Lin Dong's request. What is it, tribe leader Yuan Qian? When Lin Dong saw the expressions on their faces, his heart sank immediately. His green heaven materialized dragon skill was currently at its most critical juncture, and obtaining entry to the ancient dragon transformation pool was the most crucial step in order for him to attain complete mastery. Yuan Qian looked at Lin Dong and smiled. He waved his hand and said, It's nothing. It's no wonder Qing Ji recommended you. He is actually after the ancient dragon transformation pool. That fellow. According to the rules, only a member of the dragon tribe can enter the ancient dragon transformation pool. However, you have solved a great problem facing our dragon tribe, and it would hurt our reputation if we rejected your request. How about this? Go and take a rest first, and I will give you an answer tomorrow. What do you say? In that case, I will have to trouble tribe leader Yuan Qian. Lin Dong nodded. He was naturally able to sense that his request had put Yuan Qian in a tough spot. However, he felt helpless too. After all, he had no choice as well. Duan Dao, you should take young friend Lin Dong to a room to rest, Yuan Qian said to Duan Dao. The latter nodded before he led Lin Dong and left the underground. Tribe leader, the 3 people designated to enter the dragon transformation pool has already been decided. This, an elder of the dragon tribe looked towards Lin Dong, who had left. He hesitated before speaking. Yuan Qian nodded. Promptly, he turned to glance at the black-clothed young lady standing beside him. The latter's eyes widened upon seeing this. Father, you aren't thinking of asking me to give up my spot, are you? I had to defeat so many opponents in order to obtain that spot. Tribe leader, it is better not to ask Little Shin to give up her spot. If there is no other choice, I will go and speak with those 2 little fellows and see if they will give in. After all, Lin Dong has done us all such a huge favor. Another elder of the dragon tribe coughed softly and laughed. Those 2 little fellows. Yuan Qian laughed bitterly and said, it will not be so easy to convince them. Nonetheless, let's talk to them first. After which, they can draw lots together with Little Shin to decide which one of them will give up their spot. Otherwise, I can only forcefully use my authority as the tribe leader. The other few people laughed bitterly upon hearing this. They recalled how prideful and stubborn those other 2 individuals were. In their hearts, they felt that this matter would not be resolved peacefully. Young brother Lin Dong. Next morning, Duan Dao had already arrived at the place where Lin Dong had spent the night. A laughter was transmitted into his tightly shut room. Creak. The door was opened. Lin Dong stepped out and smilingly cupped his hands together towards Duan Dao. After a night's rest, his body had already made a complete recovery. Young brother Lin Dong, let's go. You will get your reply today. Duan Dao looked at Lin Dong and smiled. He hesitated for a moment and said, however, I'm afraid that it will not be a smooth process. Of course, there is nothing to worry about. Since the tribe leader has promised you, we will let you enter the ancient dragon transformation pool no matter what happens. Big brother Duan Dao, is this a very difficult request? Lin Dong asked. He could vaguely deduce some hints from the expression of Yuan Qian's group yesterday. However, he did not expect that there were still some hiccups even after Yuan Qian had spoken. Duan Dao mused for a moment before saying, you should be aware that our dragon tribe only opens the ancient dragon transformation pool biannually. Moreover, only 3 spots are available each time it opens. This time around, the 3 spots have already been taken. I see, Lin Dong came to a sudden comprehension. He quickly laughed bitterly. It was really the case of one having to work hard for something worthy. It was unexpected that he would have such terrible luck. Currently, the tribe leader has called the 3 of them over for a discussion to see who was willing to surrender their spot to you. It is likely that they would not dare to do anything since the tribe leader has issued the order. However, they are prideful, arrogant and untamable individuals. It is inevitable for them to feel outraged at having to give up their spot. Duan Dao said. I was a little reckless. Lin Dong sighed softly. If he was in their position, it was inevitable that he would feel angry as well. After all, no one was willing to give up something that they had obtained through hard work. What is young brother Lin Dong saying? If not for your help this time around, our dragon tribe will end up in great danger. Although that spot is valuable, it is hardly worth mentioning compared to this. Duan Dao said seriously. Lin Dong could only smile sadly and nod upon seeing this. The 2 of them were in a single file as they flew across the sky. Over 10 minutes later, an ancient square appeared in Lin Dong's sight. Many trees, that were hundreds of thousands of feet tall, stood around the square. Meanwhile, lush green branches and leaves were extended in all directions. At this moment, there were many people standing on the square. Meanwhile, there were also many people standing on top of those thick tree branches. Most of them were young individuals and they had indolent expressions. A haughtiness that emerged from deep within their bones was present between their brows. Presently, they were gathered in small groups and they were occasionally chatting with each other. Clearly, they were the younger generation members of the dragon tribe. Although they could not be considered to be domineering, it was inevitable for them to possess an innate pride, as members of one of the 4 overlord tribes. At this moment, Yuan Qian was standing in the middle of the square with his hands behind his back. 2 tall and handsome figures with indolent expressions stood in front of him. They carried a casual and indifferent attitude. However, a haughty and untamable expression was on the corner of their mouths. Yang Shan, Yang Feng, the tribe leader has spoken. The both of you had better behave yourselves. An elder from the dragon tribe by the side reprimanded after witnessing their nonchalant attitude. TSK, Uncle Mo, we know. Isn't it just to surrender one of the dragon transformation pool spots? That handsome man called Yang Shan stared at the black-clothed young lady called Yuan Xin, who was standing behind Yuan Qian, and smiled towards her. However, the latter merely rolled her eyes and turned her head away. Feeling slightly bored, he could only stretch his waist before he lazily said, I know that Lin Dong has helped our dragon tribe to resolve an extremely major problem. I am not an unreasonable person. Since he is interested in the dragon transformation pool, I can give up my spot. Those expressions of the few dragon tribe elders turned slightly better upon hearing Yang Shan's words. However, it isn't too much for me to ask that I meet this young friend first, am I right? Yuan Qian glanced at Yang Shan before lifting his head and said, he is here. Swoosh! Many pairs of eyes in this place turned towards midair after Yuan Qian's words sounded. They saw a figure rushing through the sky. After which, 2 figures appeared on the square. Many pairs of eyes stilled on the young figure beside Du and Dao while their eyes contained some curiosity. Is he the person who has helped to resolve the problem facing our dragon tribe? He is actually this young? It seems like he is merely at the initial profound death stage. That is barely acceptable. Is this for real? I heard that he has some connection with Lord Qingxi. If not for this, would the tribe leader ask Yang Shan's group to surrender a spot to enter the dragon transformation pool? Many private conversations broke out and spread across the place. Clearly, many people had doubts owing to Lin Dong's youth and the strength that he possessed. Lin Dong greets tribe leader, Yuan Qian. Lin Dong ignored this. All he did was to turn his head towards Yuan Qian, cupped his hands together and said, You are here. Yuan Qian smiled. After which he said, the matter of you entering the ancient dragon transformation pool has been resolved. I will open the dragon transformation pool with the other elders in a few days' time. Wait. The eyes of some of the dragon tribe elders sunk as they prepared to reprimand Yang Shan for interrupting. However, they were stopped by Yuan Qian. He was aware that Yang Shan was feeling a little displeased. After all, it was only reasonable for a young person to be a little hot-tempered. Yang Shan moved and appeared in front of Lin Dong. After which, he smiled towards the latter and said, Friend, the spot you obtained was taken from me. Lin Dong stared at Yang Shan. He was aware that those were not the only words that he wanted to say. You have done a great favor for our dragon tribe. I, Yang Shan, am not a person who is selfish and self-centered. A spot in the dragon transformation pool might be precious, but it will not devastate me if I lose it. However, the dragon tribe ultimately has its own rules. I defeated all the other competitors in the tribe in order to obtain it. You may take it, but you must fight with me. That spot is yours regardless of whether you win or lose. Yang Shan looked at Lin Dong. The indifferent attitude on the latter's face was slowly withdrawn. Instead, a stern fighting intent took its place. He did not mind giving up his spot. However, he was unwilling to hand that precious spot over to a completely useless person. The entire square became much quieter. Those dragon tribe elders frowned upon seeing this scene. They knitted their brows, but they did not speak up. Regardless, one's strength always spoke the loudest. Since Lin Dong has done a great favor for their dragon tribe, it was only natural for him to obtain a spot. However, he would have to rely on himself to obtain the respect of the dragon tribe younger generation members. Yuan Shen's eyes stared intently at Lin Dong. Since the very beginning, she had never seen Lin Dong's true strength. Hence, she still felt some unhappiness in her heart over Qingxi's evaluation. If Yang Shan was to fight with him, she should be able to gain some clues about Lin Dong's strength. After all, the present Yang Shan was at the perfect profound death stage and he was not weaker than her. Lin Dong stared at a stern-looking Yang Shan as the entire place became quiet. A smile rose on his youthful face as he cupped his hands together. Please advise me. This episode ends here.